Hi, I'm Bernie Flynn. At New Jersey Manufacturers Insurance Company, we believe that all citizens need to be informed about the important issues that affect their daily lives. That's why we're proud to support programming produced by Caucus Educational Corporation and their partners in public television.
Graduating from debt next on Caucus, New Jersey.
Funding for this edition of Caucus, New Jersey has been provided by Johnson & Johnson, Suez, ready for the resource revolution, University Hospital, Newark, New Jersey, MD Advantage Insurance Company of New Jersey, the New Jersey Office of the Insurance Fraud Prosecutor. Insurance fraud costs New Jersey families $1,300 a year. The New Jersey Re-Entry Corporation, and by NJM Insurance Group. Promotional support provided by Jaffe Communications, where business, media, and government converge in New Jersey. And by Commerce Magazine.
Welcome to Caucus. I'm Steve Adubato. Student loan debt impacts the entire country, from students trying to pay their own way to parents helping their child during a time when they really should be thinking about retirement. Right here in the studio to discuss ways we can help students and parents make the best choices for the future, we have back again Dr. Nancy Blattner, who is president of Caldwell University. Jennifer Rodriguez is a graduate student attending Rutgers University. Kim Cole is Community Engagement Manager at Navicore Solutions. And finally, Roger Michaud, who's been with us before, back again talking about money and higher ed, Senior Vice President and Director of College Savings at Franklin Templeton Investments. Good to have you all with us talking about college debt. Roger, let me ask you this. How serious is the college debt problem in this nation?
It's massive. Student loan debt now exceeds $1.4 trillion. On average, a college graduate today is leaving that university with over $30,000 in student loan debt.
30.
That's right.
How much higher is that, or worse than that, than 10, 15 years ago?
Significantly higher. Well, schools are much costlier today than they were 10 and 15 years ago. And I think as we continue to look at the projections, college costs will continue to rise, and many families are going to be forced to take on more debt.
Nancy, you were on our other program looking at the college affordability. This is a natural, I don't even know if it's a segue, but it's part of a larger discussion. What do you do? What do your colleagues do to try to, and is it, loaded question, I know, is it your responsibility to be thinking about the debt that students graduate with and what that means in their lives?
Oh, I do think it's part of our responsibility, and we try to do a number of things. We provide a lot of financial literacy counseling to incoming students and to their parents so that they work individually and they meet in groups to talk about the difference between a loan and a grant and what it means if they take an unsubsidized loan and so forth, so that students and their families are aware of what the debt level will be. We also try to provide really, I think, aggressive, what I would call aggressive advising, so that students, once they've decided upon a major, they're taking courses that lead them toward their degree completion. That doesn't mean that they can't dabble in electives or try, a course that they might like, but try to focus them so that they will finish in as quick a time as possible so that they incur less debt.
Jennifer, let me ask you, you will be graduating with an MPH degree. Master's in Public
Yes, that's
Health?
correct. Public health.
First of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
It's going to be important, the contribution you'll make. You'll be graduating January 2018. We're doing this program in midsummer 17. What do you see your college debt being when you graduate?
So right now, my projected college debt will be $80,000. $80,000, and that's both a combination of undergrad and graduate school. And it's just also really interesting because I'm the first person in my family to go to college, but I'm also a low-income student. So what that meant was that I qualified for every possible state and federal aid that was available. But a lot of it was just me having to learn how to navigate the system and learning what aid I qualified for.
How'd you do that?
It was a trial and error situation. You know, it was constantly fighting with the financial aid office, asking them for more aid because I couldn't afford, I don't know, the next semester or things like that. It was a lot of me learning on on my own as I was trying to navigate the process. And for me, it wasn't a question of whether I would go to college or not. It was how can I afford to go to college? That was the question that I was facing.
Did you say to yourself, and I promise I'll come to you, Kim, did you say to yourself, no matter what it takes, no matter what I owe when I'm done, I'm going to do this?
For me, it was just a matter of I'm willing to do what it takes to go to college. So that meant taking summer jobs. That meant working more than one job, which I'm currently working more than one job to be able to finish, pay for my books, pay for my tuition. So I obviously did not want to have a very large amount of college debt, but that's what I ended up facing. And
what does it mean for you? And by the way, your husband joined us on our previous program talking about college affordability.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ask yourself what it's going to mean moving forward for you and your family to deal with this debt?
So
what are you going to pay every month? I'm sorry to get into detail. I happen to know the details because you told our producers. I can't believe the number.
So I would have to pay $850 a month for 10 years. Or if I decide to consolidate my loans, it would be about $450 for 30 years. So it's like paying a mortgage, essentially, except that I have no home. I'm just starting my family now, almost 6 months of being married. Yet it's just going to be hard to start a family when we are having to deal with my student
And you're going
debt.
into public health, of course, making $3 million a year. I mean, you're doing something that's so important for so many. Let me ask you, Kim, your organization does what to help those like Jennifer dealing with this?
Well, where we come into play is in two areas. The first one is if we can get to the high school students and their families. High school, before they enter college. What we try to provide is a higher level of financial education, financial literacy, and a better understanding of what schools they may want to attend. For instance, if they know they're going to be graduating with a degree that's going to afford them a job making $40,000 a year, they may not want to go to a school where they're going to graduate with $140,000 worth of student loan debt. So we may try to give them some guidance on that and really kind of push the idea that you never borrow more than you absolutely need.
Hold on a second. You also say never borrow more money than you will make in your first year out of college.
Yes. Yes.
Now, hold on. So if it's 80 or 90 grand on your end,
Right.
if that model were to play itself out, then Jennifer is going to have to make 100 grand.
Correct.
And that's obviously not very likely, especially.
You don't think that's likely?
I don't think it's likely.
The $3 million I was joking about, but I'm hoping it's 100 grand.
Right.
You don't think it's going to be?
No, I'll be lucky if it's 60,000, which is still less than what I owe.
But respectfully,
Sure.
You're saying that that's the best case model.
That is the
Jennifer's
best case
saying
scenario.
that's her reality.
Right. Right. So now what we're going to do is we would sit down with Jennifer and her husband, and we would look at the different repayment options for the federal student loans. A lot of people don't realize that there are a number of repayment options for federal student loans.
Respectfully, repayment options, they said it's $900 a month and that's it. Isn't that it?
No, that's where things get a little sticky, because the exit interview that students do with the colleges and with the lenders at the end, one of the things that's supposed to happen is that I think there's 9 different repayment options when you graduate with federal student loans.
How does one find these things out?
Hopefully, they're learning that through either the college upon their exit interview, or it really should be the responsibility of the lender. It should be
of the lender
or servicer that's handling these loans.
No disrespect to my alma mater, Rutgers. Did anyone at Rutgers sit there and say, listen, you have options, let's talk about them?
I had to actively start asking questions. No one came to me.
Did the lenders sit down and say, Jennifer, here are your options?
Not yet.
Roger?
Well, I think that whole discussion has to take place when you're going to have your first child, so that you begin saving from day one when that child is born, and realize the impact of saving $50 or $100 a month on a systematic basis over 18 years. That's a significant accumulation of cash that can be used to pay direct college costs.
We'll stay on this. We've had this conversation before, and to disclose that the 529 plan that you and your organization happen to be connected to in the state of New Jersey, all 4 of our children, their college education is being funded through this 529, and I often thought, okay, we were able to do that, but you've often said to me, hey, Steve, listen, you were able to do it at a certain level, other people do it at other level. You're saying if you start early on,
as early as
$50,
possible. That's right.
a what? A month?
A month. You could get started with as little as $25 a month. The thing is, you put a plan in place and you go back to it on a quarterly basis when you get your statements, and you say, 25 doesn't hurt, maybe I'll raise it to 50 now. And eventually you've got a plan that grows to 100 a month, 250 a month. And you look at the vast accumulation that you've
over the years. By the way, Jackie, give me that
years.
number again. Jackie, our producer, is saying 150 a month, which is not easy for some people, but doable for others if they make some tough choices, right? Priorities. Over 10 years, Jackie, what is it? Obviously, I didn't do well in math. No disrespect to Rutgers. That's 150 grand.
150 grand, and if you do it in a college savings plan, a 529 plan, you do it tax-free.
That's a way of doing it.
That's right.
But to not do that, Nancy, to not be thinking about it, because we have a lot of friends who say, what are you talking about? The kid's 7. It's ridiculous to be talking about this now. It is not.
It's absolutely not. I agree. And my husband and I have started it with our grandchildren. So,
Have you really?
Yes. And we did it exactly as Roger said. We started at $50 a month. We have 4 grandchildren, and we upped it to what we could afford. And so as those children will eventually go into college, we'll be able to help them. And, we're very proud of that. But I think that it's also important to just say from the university's perspective that debt is very difficult, and I want to certainly acknowledge the situation that Jennifer has outlined for us, because I really feel for you. I know that's got to be daunting for you to think about. And yet I would say the other choice of not having the education, if you've done everything you could and you still have that debt, is not a good choice, because
what do you mean?
Everything that I've read, and of course there are outliers in all of this, but everything that's out there says that anyone who graduates with a bachelor's degree, and it's even better if you have a master's degree or a professional degree, that you will, over the course of your lifetime, as any of us who have bachelor's degrees, will make more than $1 million to $2 million than our counterparts who have only a high school education. In addition, because of choices we make, we'll have healthier lifestyles for the most part.
What do you mean healthier?
That college graduates choose to do things more in moderation. They don't smoke as much as non-college educated people. This is true. I mean, this is documented. And so they work out, they walk, they exercise more.
Talking about quality of life.
Yes, and they also are more civically involved. So they vote more regularly, and they're more involved in volunteerism in their communities. So, what we talk about at Caldwell, because the other statistic that I think is really frightening, and I say this to incoming students, you're going to work for 50 years, and they just about fall out. When I say that, because it just
By the way, if you're
like,
lucky if you work the 50 years that you have work.
Well, there's that.
If you're lucky, but that's another story.
But it also indicates that about 60% of the jobs that these new college graduates will be doing haven't even been invented yet, because technology is changing so rapidly, knowledge is growing so quickly, that people will be doing things they can't possibly be trained for. So how do you prepare them in college? And you do that because you give them a strong foundation of skills that are necessary regardless of whatever you're going to do in your multiple careers. So you graduate and you're a good thinker, a critical thinker, a problem solver. You're a good communicator. You can speak orally. You can write cogently. You work as a member of a team, or you work independently.
All part of a job and being really good.
Yes. It gives you a toolkit of skills.
Before we go to this break, real quick, still a really good investment, college.
Absolutely. I think there's the opportunities that they're made aware of, and the people that they meet. Not only is it the numbers speak to the fact that you're going to earn more money, the unemployment rate for the college educated segment of the market is significantly lower, and with a graduate degree, it's lower again. Yes. So the more education you get, the more opportunity you're going to have.
When we come back from this break, the other thing I want to talk about is this whole question of using retirement dollars to pay for the college debt of those who are closest to you. Some people are doing it. Some people around this table think it's a pretty bad idea. Be right back after this.
To see more Caucus New Jersey with Steve Adubato programs, visit us online at steveadubato.org. If you would like to express an opinion, email us at info@caucusnj.org. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Steve Adubato, PhD. And follow us on Twitter at Steve Adubato.
Folks, welcome back to Caucus. We're talking about college debt and how to deal with it, how to avoid it, and then how to deal with it if you have it. I was going out of the break, I said, hey, what about those people using retirement funds? My retirement funds, I want to do it for my kid, my grandchildren. You say bad idea?
I say bad idea.
Why?
You are not going to be able to make that money back. You're going to need that money. Your child has 50 years worth of work ahead of them to repay that student loan debt. You will not have 50 years of work to replenish that retirement money that you have gone through in order to pay for a child's student.
So the parent or grandchild who thinks they're being generous is being financially not smart.
I think they're being short-sighted, and I think that before any person that's considering using their retirement to fund an education should speak to a financial planner before doing that. I
Sure.
think that would be extremely wise.
Jennifer, let me ask you this on a human, personal level. I asked your husband the same thing on our other program looking at college affordability. How much do you think about the stress, the human part of this, whatever anxiety, I don't want to use too many words that are too provocative here, but because I don't know your situation. Mm-hmm. But how much on a human level do you worry about the impact that paying close to $1,000 a month, if it's not restructured, will have on you and your family and your life, your quality of life?
So it definitely is stressful, and to Dr. Blattner's point, as a public health student, we definitely do look at how education is a factor that contributes to a person's quality of life. So you get it. So I understand that point. It's definitely it will help my whole quality of life, but just thinking about having to make those payments, I mean, $1,000, close to $1,000 every month, almost doesn't seem feasible sometimes.
That's after taxes.
Right. When I have to think about maybe, paying into my health insurance, helping out my family members. I have a younger brother who is still in high school, and
you're helping your younger brother.
Well, he's still in high school, but when he goes to college, what will his perspectives look like? So there are just a lot of factors that contribute.
Would you have done anything differently?
Would I have?
If you knew, that's ridiculous, hackney question. If you knew then what you know now, would you have done anything differently?
I definitely think that I do not regret the choices that I've made. I chose to go to Rutgers, New Brunswick because they had the major that I was looking at. And I was fortunate enough to finish within the 4 years.
You didn't drag it out?
I didn't. So I was able to finish within 4 years. But I definitely have learned that, community college is an option that would have saved me a considerable amount of money. But I do not regret the choices that I've made. And as a low-income student, I was fortunate enough to have an EO, Educational Opportunity Fund program, and have counselors there that helped me. So.
By the way, you're helping a lot of people just by talking about this so openly right now. Roger, let me ask you this. What is the SPRING program?
SPRING is a crowdfunding tool that we've attached to NJ Best, the 529 program. By crowdfunding, we mean asking family and friends to contribute to your child's college savings plan. It's easy to use. You go online, you build a profile for your child, you set a goal, and then you share it with friends and family. And you'll be surprised at the numbers of additional contributors you may have that you were maybe uncomfortable to ask, but you can do it electronically with a note.
Nancy, I'll come back to you. You served on a college commission, commission looking at college affordability. We talked about this on the previous program, looking at the cost of college. There are a group of experts, people who are engaged in higher education from a variety of perspectives. Was there any discussion on the part of the commission, Doctor, that looked at debt?
We did talk about debt. And one of the things that we recommended would be avenues whereby students, and Jennifer is a good example, even though she has debt, that she went through and finished her undergraduate degree in 4 years. Many times students accrue debt because they can't finish in 4 years, and they're torn between, should I work a job, should I work multiple jobs, should I try to take more classes? And so we looked at ways that students could be more efficient and graduate more quickly. And I think all colleges, faculty, as well as administrators are very interested in helping students do that. I think the thing we have to take into account is that every student is not able to do that. Some come with remedial needs. Some come where they simply can't take more than 12 credits because of where they live and they're commuting from,
Right.
or whatever the case might be. So we try to meet the students where they are. But it's a very difficult situation.
You know, the other thing that really strikes me is, in many ways, it feels like our other program, State of Affairs, is supposed to be our public policy program. But more and more as we're talking about this, it feels that this is a public policy question as well as a personal question, as well as a financial question, as well as a question that there are others in nonprofit organizations helping people, and that universities have folks helping as well. But in terms of public policy, what I'm thinking about here is I've heard more and more people say that college debt is the next massive financial crisis in this nation. That is not simply Jennifer's problem. That is a problem for this country, Roger.
Yeah, and I think if you look at the numbers, at 1.4 trillion, there's more student loan debt.
1.4 trillion what?
Dollars outstanding in student loan debt.
Owed.
That exceeds all credit card debt combined. So it's a significant problem. We talk amongst ourselves about keep your credit card balance low and what have you. Your student, one thing you need to be focused on is address these college costs as early as possible when that child is born.
But is there a role of the federal government, is there a role in state government to be more actively engaged? If this is in fact a potential, the next, I mean, we were talking about 2008, 2009, if I have the years right, of the horrible situation that happened with the banks, with the screwy loans that went wrong. So many people were affected, still affected. If this is the next potential crisis, to what degree should government leaders, our policymakers, be saying, time out? This is the infrastructure of our financial infrastructure of our society that's potentially crumbling. Am I being overly dramatic here?
No, I think it's the next bubble that's going to burst. And what I would say about that, and we haven't talked about it, is that many institutions like Caldwell and like others put a tremendous amount of institutional aid towards students. You know, you've talked, and I know that you did avail yourself of many opportunities. You mentioned EOF, and I'm sure Pell and TAG are a part of that at the state and federal level.
All government programs.
Yes. But at Caldwell, we give over $22 million a year of institutional aid to students in the form of scholarships.
Why would you do that with the financial challenges you face?
And we do face financial challenges because our mission is to serve marginalized students. So we have many first-generation students. Many come from homes where English is not the first language. We're a very diverse population of students, and that's been the way the sisters who created the school more than 75 years ago had a mission to serve marginalized students. They were young Catholic women at that time, but that's evolved to meet the needs of the New Jersey student. And so we're very proud of the fact that we put that money in, and that's not in a subsidized endowment scholarship. Our endowment's very small. That's truly out of money that we have coming in where we're discounting tuition. And you get to a point where you can't discount any further.
That's
so.
Right.
You know, we're well aware of that and doing what we can at an institutional level, but the costs have just continued to skyrocket.
Go back in. That's Dr. Blattner talking about this, what they're doing at her university. I'm also asking the question, am I missing a meaningful dialogue that's taking place in the nation's capital or in the state capitals across this country about this next, quote, bubble, as you said, financial bubble that's about to burst, Roger? And if so, what am I missing?
During the last campaign, you heard potentially about providing college for free, and nothing's for free. You know, you're talking about taking the entire U.S. tax base and raising taxes to provide a new.
What would it mean if the bubble
benefit.
bursts?
It would be significant. That's 1.4 trillion taken out of the system.
Students can't pay. That's it. Can't pay it.
Yeah, this is money that lenders have borrowed. These are backed by bonds in many cases.
That's right.
It structurally.
Sorry,
it would
don't
be a
have the money, can't pay. Who gets stuck with that bill? Who gets stuck with that bill?
Well, we're going to get stuck with that
Taxpayers.
bill. And I think that there's another thing that we're missing in all of this, real quick, is that. Like Jennifer, she can't go and buy a house now.
What do you mean? Because of her debt?
Because of her debt, it's going to potentially slow her down now from adding to our own economy by home purchase, investments, and things like that, because her primary focus is going to be paying $1,000 a month.
And her, quote,
in
debt
student
to
loan.
income ratio will not be one that most banks, listen, I hate to say it because you're sitting right there.
Right.
And you think what when we say that?
Well, I pursued my education to be a productive member of society, and in a way, it's kind of fighting back. So.
Where's the silver lining for you?
I mean, for me, it's just knowing that at least I'll be the first person in my family to have a college degree, and the hope is that through this degree, I will be able to help people who are facing health crisis. That's what I'm looking to go into. So I'm in it to help more people.
You have children?
Not yet.
When you have children, I've heard you say that you very much want them to go to college.
I would like for any student, no matter what the situation they're in, if they're also a New York student like myself, so they could go to college.
Wow.
We have the right program for you when you get started.
I wish we had more answers. Next time we'll talk about potentially more answers. Thank you so much, all of you.
The preceding program has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating over 25 years of broadcast excellence. Funding for this edition of Caucus New Jersey has been provided by Johnson & Johnson, Suez, University Hospital, Newark, New Jersey, MD Advantage Insurance Company of New Jersey, the New Jersey Office of the Insurance Fraud Prosecutor, the New Jersey Re-Entry Corporation, and by NJM Insurance Group. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area. Caucus New Jersey has been produced in partnership with TriStar Studios.
What is it?
It's you.
It's me? All right, Emma. I know it's not your favorite, but it's time for your medicine, okay? You ready? 1, 2, 3. Emma, Emma, Bob, Emma, banana, fana, for Emma, fee, fi, for Emma, Emma. Very good, sweetie. How do you feel?
Good.
Yeah, you did a really good job, okay? Let's go back to drawing.